So today, let's dive into a really fascinating story about high-stakes political and military strategy. It's a situation where one single decision, a choice between two totally different advisors, is going to decide the fate of an entire kingdom. It really is a classic tale of logic versus emotion.
And at the very heart of the story is this critical choice. You've got the most logical, efficient military advice going head-to-head with a plan that wins the day, not through strategy, but through pure psychology. It's just a powerful reminder that the best plan and the winning plan, well, they aren't always the same thing.
Okay, so let's set the stage here. The kingdom is right in the middle of a civil war. King David, who is this legendary warrior and a super experienced leader, has been forced off his throne. He's now on the run, a fugitive in his own land. And the guy who overthrew him, yeah, that's his own ambitious son, Absalom. Now, Absalom has captured the capital, Jerusalem, which is a massive victory for him. But you have to understand, his hold on power is brand new, and it's incredibly fragile. So this next decision, what to do about his fugitive father, is absolutely critical. One wrong move, and his entire rebellion could just completely collapse. So to help him make this decision, Absalom has Ahithophel, his most trusted advisor. And look, this isn't just any advisor. The source material tells us his counsel was so respected, it was seen as being as reliable as hearing directly from God. I mean, this guy is the master strategist.
And Ahithophel's advice, it's immediate and it's precise. He doesn't ask for the whole army, not even close. He asks for just 12,000 hand-picked elite soldiers. You see, this isn't about brute strength or some massive, glorious war. This is all about efficiency and a surgical strike.
His plan is just brilliant in its simplicity, and it's really built on three key elements. First, speed. Set out tonight. Don't give David a single moment to rest or regroup. Second, timing. Attack David while he is weary and weak. You hit him at his absolute lowest point. And third, precision. Strike down only the king. Now this is crucial. By targeting only David, he avoids a bloody, drawn-out civil war, he minimizes casualties, and he allows the nation to heal really quickly under Absalom's new rule. It's logical, it's efficient, and it is absolutely ruthless.
But Absalom decides, you know what, I want a second opinion. So he calls in this other guy, Hushai. Now what Absalom has no idea about is that Hushai is secretly a spy, and he's completely loyal to David. So he has to improvise a counter-argument right there on the spot, one powerful enough to beat the perfect logical Ahithophel and save his king.
So what's Hushai's first move? He pivots away from logic and straight into emotion. He immediately starts to build fear. He reminds Absalom that his father isn't just some weary old man on the run. No, this is David, the legendary warrior, and his men are cornered, desperate fighters. He paints this terrifying picture of a wild bear robbed of her cubs, an unstoppable, furious force.
Next, Hushai moves from fear to flattery. Instead of a small elite force, he proposes this grand spectacle. An army drawn from all Israel, a force so massive it's as numerous as the sand on the seashore. See, this isn't about military necessity, this is about appealing to Absalom's ego and his sense of grandeur.
And this is the masterstroke. Hushai puts Absalom right at the center of this glorious vision. He's not going to be some ruler waiting back in the palace for news of a quiet assassination. Oh no. He is the conquering hero, personally leading an unconquerable army into a battle that people will talk about forever. He's selling a legend, not a strategy.
So what we have are two completely opposing philosophies. On one side, you've got Ahithophel's plan, which is all about logic and efficiency, a swift, clean victory. And on the other, you have Hushai's plan, which is just pure psychological manipulation. It's slower, it's going to be bloodier, and it's way less efficient. But it appeals directly to Absalom's ego and his deep desire for glory.
And so now we're at the turning point of the entire conflict. Absalom has two paths in front of him. The quiet, logical path to certain victory, and the grand, glorious path of self-aggrandizement. His choice is going to determine everything. And the decision is made. Against all military logic, Absalom and all his commanders choose Hushai's plan. The appeal to their own pride and glory was just too strong to resist. They chose the plan that made them feel powerful over the plan that would have actually made them victorious. Now, what's really interesting is that the text itself gives us a kind of behind-the-scenes explanation for this terrible decision. It frames it as a moment of divine intervention, basically suggesting that Absalom's pride was used as the very tool to ensure his eventual downfall, by making him reject the one piece of advice that would have guaranteed his success.
So Hushai's verbal victory in the council, that was just step one. His huge gamble has bought David precious time, but now he has to turn that time into a real advantage. He's got to get a warning out to David, letting him know that a massive army is now being gathered. And believe me, the clock is ticking.
Getting that warning to David, well, it required a desperate, high-stakes espionage mission. The message had to pass through this dangerous chain of contacts, and it almost failed when the spies were spotted. It was only through some really quick thinking and the help of a loyal woman that they managed to escape. The entire rebellion hinged on this one message getting through.
And the spies succeed. They reach David with that urgent message, set out and cross the river at once. And David, being the experienced commander he is, doesn't waste a second. He moves his entire camp, every man, woman, and child, across the Jordan River, all under the cover of darkness. By morning, they're just gone. The delay that Hushai created has saved them all.
But what about the master strategist, Ahithophel? His brilliant, logical, war-winning advice had just been rejected in favor of a plan based on ego and spectacle. And he knew, with absolute certainty, what that meant.
The key thing to understand here is that Ahithophel wasn't just insulted or having a tantrum. He was a master strategist who could see the future with perfect clarity. He knew that by rejecting his plan and giving David time to escape and regroup, Absalom had already lost the war. The rebellion was now completely doomed.
And his reaction is, well, it's chillingly calm and logical. He doesn't fly into a rage. He doesn't try to argue his case again. He simply rides his donkey home, puts all of his affairs in perfect order, and then he ends his own life. He chose to die on his own terms rather than wait for the inevitable collapse of the rebellion and the execution that he knew would follow.
So, this ancient story really serves as this incredible case study. We see that a perfectly logical plan can be defeated not by a better plan, but by one that better understands human nature, specifically the ego of the person in charge. It leaves us with a timeless question. In the halls of power, who really holds the cards? Is it the strategist with the perfect plan, the speaker with the most persuasive voice, or in the end, is history ultimately decided by the simple, powerful, and often fatal pride of the one making the choice?